Hi, I'm George with NS345. Today I want to talk about the Focusrite control. The Focusrite control is the software that's included with the Clarett Thunderbolt audio interface range. The Focusrite control download package includes the Focusrite control itself, which is the internal mixer, and the drivers for your DAW. Before you even open up the Focusrite control, make sure that you've taken a look at the manual. If you go to the download section within the Focusrite website, go to the pick your product by type drop-down menu, select your audio interface. In my case, I own the Clarett 8 Pre-X. Go down here and open up the Focusrite control user guide. Spend about 5 to 10 minutes reading it. It's not too long and it's very comprehensive, very easy to understand. If you're familiar with the Sapphire Mix control, then the Focusrite control will be easy to learn. However, if you were used to using the Sapphire Mix control, you will have a bit of a learning curve. So I recommend reading the manual. The Sapphire Mix control has 2 pages, the device setting page and the mixing and routing page. On the left of the mixing and routing page, you're going to see all of the outputs. You can click on each output individually. Outputs 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. Your SPDIF outputs, and then your ADAT outputs. The ADAT outputs may not show up if you don't have an ADAT piece of equipment connected. The second section within the mixing and routing page is the hardware input sections. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this a little later. For now, I just want to do a brief introduction. But if you click on if you're back on 1 and you select custom mix and you click on the plus sign here, you're going to get the option to set up your channels. If you only have 2 mics, you can do that. If you have 3 or 4, and then you also have the option to just set up stereo inputs. For me, this will probably never be the case. Again, I'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in a later video. The third section of the mixing and routing page is the software DAW playback. Now, these correspond with the actual physical outputs of your audio interface. And again, I'll talk about this a little later. It's probably the 5th time I've said that, but that's okay. So again, we have the output section laid out in a vertical format. We have the hardware input section here. Then we have the software DAW playback section here that corresponds with your physical outputs. The second page is the device settings page. This has a couple of sections. First, you can see the sync light, which corresponds to your clock source. And it's saying that your equipment is clocked appropriately and that your audio interface is your master clock source if you set it to internal. The sample rate is here. You can select it from there. And it's showing sync status locked. And you'll see the green light here. Then your SPDIF source. And then your meter source. If you're using external meters, you can set that up here. In my case, I won't be doing that. Then you have your monitor controls. And I'll talk about this a little bit later on another video. You can select those. And that's pretty much it. Just to recap, within the Focusrite control, you have 2 pages. The mixing and routing page, which has 3 sections. Outputs laid out in vertical format. Inputs, which will be laid out in a horizontal format. And the software playback, or the outputs from your DAW, which correspond to your physical outputs of your interface.